I'm going to record. Awesome. You guys are going to have 5 minutes to complete the multiple choice. Actually, 4 minutes to complete the multiple choice on the do now. You can go ahead and start transferring over there. I'm going to restrict you to that screen. 4 minutes to complete these 5 multiple choice questions. Go ahead and get started. 4 minutes. Please make sure you also have your camera on. The only people who do not need their camera on are Jamal, Malachi, Janiqua, Yamani, and Madison, and that is because they are sitting here in front of me. Two and a half more minutes. Please make sure you are engaging in the Desmos. Right now, I only have answers from 12 students, and I should have them from 15. Two more minutes. So far, nobody is at 100%, so please make sure you're checking your answers. For number 1, Madison, Kezia, and Nyasia are the only 3 that have it correct. You have 1 more minute. Awesome, good correction, Nyasia, on number 1. For number 3, Manny is the only one that has it correct. Double check number 3. Awesome, great corrections for number 3, Ariana and Dwayne. Go ahead and finish up. Awesome correction on number 3, Malachi. Okay, be prepared to check your work. I'm going to go through and tell y'all the answers. Number 1 is D. Number 2 is C. Again, number 2 is C. Number 3 is D. Remember, reserved powers are things that the Constitution gives some allusion to, but is not expressed directly. Number 4 is D. And number 5 is D. Awesome. Going to go ahead and restrict us to our hook slide, which is number 3. So you guys should be pushed over there. So as we talked during Unit 3, which is specifically on civil liberties, we talked about the court case of Obergefell, I always say that name wrong, versus Hodges, and the relationship between LGBTQ marriage and the 14th Amendment. Below, you're going to read 2 quotes from the different Supreme Court justices or different representatives after the Supreme Court came out with their decision, and you're going to answer those 2 questions. You have 3 minutes to do so. Go ahead and get started. 3 minutes. And as you're getting started, as a reminder, Yamani, Madison, Janiqua, Malachi, and Jamal are the only ones that do not need their cameras on, and it's because they're sitting in front of me. Please make sure you have your camera on. Ninety more seconds for your hook. Thank you, Madison, Ariana, and Nazaya, for your urgency. Please make sure you are responding in the text box. Looks like we need a little bit more time, so I'm going to give us 1 extra minute. You have 2 minutes to complete the hook. Thank you. I love the urgency of your responses. 1 more minute to get them in. Awesome, great job on those. Can I hear from Nyasia? Can you share what you wrote for the Republican Party? And Madison, can you share what you wrote for the Democrat Party?
I said the Republican Party is freaking nosy when it comes to social issues because most Republicans are conservative and believe in traditional values on topics such as LGBTQ relationships and gender identity/norms.
Before you start. Okay, before Madison starts, I just want to stamp the part, the second part of Nyasia's response that that they are more focused on conservative and quote unquote traditions of the United States. That's the key part. So it's not just that they are against LGBTQ marriage, it is that they have very conservative social ideologies. That's the gap that I saw in most responses on Desmos. Madison, go ahead and jump in.
I said the Democratic Party leans more to equality and justice for all when regarding social issues. They believe no one deserves to be treated less compared to others, regardless of their beliefs, gender, race, and et cetera, et cetera.
Awesome. Thank you so much to both of you guys for sharing. So today we are going to be looking more into these social beliefs of these political parties. I know Erica is super excited. This is her jam. So we are going to be focusing more on this. Where is my lesson plan? There it is. Sorry, guys, a lot of tabs open. So today we are going to be focusing on this idea of liberty. Yesterday, we talked about liberty in terms of a minimum wage and economic policy. So which party favors liberty in terms of like somebody's ability to live their lives the way they see fit? We're going to start with looking at the conservatives and looking at how, when it comes to social policy, do they prioritize liberty? After some reading and then some discourse, we will then look at Democrats. So I am going to restrict us to slide 4, which has documents 1 and 2. And you will have 7 minutes to read these 2 documents and make some annotations, prioritizing this question. When it comes to social policy, do conservatives prioritize liberty? You have 7 minutes to do this initial reading, and then we'll come back together to discuss this question. 7 minutes to annotate. Chat me if you have any questions. Go ahead and get started. Hi guys, I'm just gonna pause our timer really quick and address some weird formatting issues. I'm really sorry. I thought I checked this out. I'm still getting used to Desmos. The first document is written from Betsy DeVos, who was the former Secretary of Education underneath Donald Trump. So I'm sorry that it indented weird. So again, the first document is written by Betsy DeVos, who is the former Secretary of Education. And document 2 is just the Republican Party platform. So document 2 is just like on behalf of all Republicans. If you have any questions about that, I'm sorry if the first few lines of document 1 look weird. Chat me if you have any other questions. Merits to Madison for following up and pointing that out. You have 5 minutes and 42 seconds left. Go ahead and keep going. Awesome. Love these annotations that I'm seeing, especially thorough annotations from Madison, Ariana, Erica, Nyasia, Janaya, and merits to Lauren for her really thorough annotation on document 1. Two and a half minutes left. If you haven't started reading document 2, make sure you guys head on down to there. Ninety more seconds to finish up. Make sure for your annotation for document 2, you're focusing on this idea of liberty. So like, according to document 2, what is the Republican relationship with liberty? I'll give you about 15 more seconds to finish up. utilizing both documents, when it comes to social policy, do conservatives prioritize liberty? Can I hear from Ziera, and then Nazaya, and then Janiqua?
I feel like when it comes to conservatives, they tend to focus on more of the people than other things because they believe in independence overall, though that may change depending on government issues or policies that they can't change.
I agree, but would also focus on how conservatives are more focused on like amendments or laws that were already created within the Constitution. And they feel like these amendments and these laws shouldn't change because it's also based off of their religion, but also more because they feel like this is the foundation of the Constitution or of the United States. So they don't believe that it should always be changing.
I agree, and I think that their ideas of freedom changes based off of their social views. So, like for document 2, they oppose abortion because that's their belief, but they don't care about giving students freedom to choose their education and stuff.
Yes, so there is a allusion to liberty, but maybe it might look different. Does anybody want to jump in and add to what they've already heard? Lauren, what you said in the chat is entirely correct. Would you mind unmuting and sharing what you put in the chat to me?
Okay. Well, I said what I got from document 2 is basically like they support liberty, but they don't support like the increased power or influence that it will have on government. So they rather go by like just the original way that things were set instead of just changing it. They just rather go by, yeah, basically. That's what I got from it.
Awesome. And Manny, can you jump in? You had another interesting thing in the chat where you point out some of this dualism.
Yeah, they're talking about liberty and everything, and they go on to say, but like, we don't support abortion. So like, you can't talk about liberty and then not give women the choice to abort. Like it's so confusing. That's so confusing.
Exactly. So they have an interesting approach to liberty. So we're going to transition to documents 3 and 4, which focus on liberals. Do liberals prioritize equality? I apologize. It's again another formatting issue where it looks really smushed together. Both of these articles are from newspapers. There's not like a really important POV. So one is discussing Cory Booker, who is a Democrat, who is like a up and coming star of the Democratic Party. And then document 4 is about Bernie Sanders. So go ahead and we're going to transition to documents 3 and 4, just on the next slide, which I'm going to push you guys over to. Awesome. Okay, so documents 3 and 4, same thing. You're going to have 7 minutes to read these. Chat me if you have any questions. 7 minutes. No worries. Mm-hmm. Also, just to mark a rephrasing in the question, do liberals prioritize equality the way that they say they do? Five more minutes. Awesome, thorough annotations on document 3 so far from Lauren, Nyasia, Nazaya, Ariana, and Janiqua. Three and a half more minutes. Awesome start to your annotation medicine for document 4. Two and a half more minutes. Ninety more seconds. Please hold up in your camera view if you need 1 or 2 more minutes to finish reading. Okay, I'm gonna give us 90 more seconds, meet somewhere in the middle. You have 3 more minutes to finish annotating. Thank you guys for taking your time and putting in some thorough annotations. It's a great place to start out with discourse. Okay, take about 30 more seconds to finish up and then we'll come back together. Okay. All right, 10. Awesome, let's go ahead and come back together. So based on these documents, do we think that Democrats prioritize social policy? Can I hear, and I understand that these documents might be confusing, but maybe they're confusing or they don't seem to work on purpose. It's almost like I know what I'm doing. Just kidding. Wait, no, I do know what I'm doing. I'm not kidding about that part. I don't know if you guys can hear everybody laughing at me in the room. Don't you guys miss laughing at me together? Everybody unmute and laugh at me on 1, 2, 3. I'm just kidding, don't do it. There it is. Oh, great. This video is fantastic. Great. So according to these documents, do you think that the Democrats prioritize equality? Can I hear from Erica and then Manny? And we'll see who else wants to jump in from there.
I'm guessing that they do because they want to support the struggling class and like really give them their best shot. Well, at least that applies to Bernie, and for Brooker, he believes that by lowering guns, he's providing liberty for the other people. But then again, like I feel like some people are against this because forcing this and providing this for the struggling class probably has an effect on the wealthier class, an effect that I don't know about because I'm not at that status, and that's probably why Republicans view this. But I don't really remember the question anymore. Bernie helped struggling people.
Yeah, I agree. For the first one, it's definitely very clear that he's definitely fighting for like the people who can't really speak for themselves. Where he says like, I'm frustrated with the politicians who all the best they can muster is to give thoughts and prayers. Enough of that. Basically saying that, you know, it's time to take action on those things. And then for document 4, it's very clear that he's trying to help like the lesser financially stable community by banning for-profit schools. But like, again, like who's to say he's just saying all this or trying to do all this just to gain support? No one knows, but like still, what he's saying sounds amazing.
I mean, that's definitely an issue with the Democratic Party that we've been uncovering is they have a lot of great things to say, but do they have a lot of great things to do? Can I hear from Lauren? Go ahead and jump in.
I agree with both of them. And I was kind of stuck in the in-between when reading the documents. I had shared the same evidence that Manny had said with the enough is enough because it's basically document 3 had told me that like they're just like they only offered advice. They're not like they're advising. They're not specifically giving off some type of change. And then Bernie Sanders, I felt like as if in his campaign he was trying to appeal to the lower class instead of trying to appeal to all or by him just appealing to the lower class. I feel like he's trying to frame it to get a lot of support, but he's not really offering much. Like banning for-profit schools, what is that real like? Even though that is stopping one thing, or the discrimination of lower class community, what is it really doing? Like it's not really offering a solution or anything. It's just giving an idea that's opening a conversation.
Go ahead, Nyasha.
I partially agree with Lauren, and I'm more on like Manny and Erica's side. I think that it they are liking equality, like that's like their basis of like their thing, but they are prioritizing safety and life rather than like individual liberties. With like the first one, they want stricter gun regulations from the NRA because the gun violence and the mass shootings that have been happening, like they're still letting you get your guns, but you have to go through more hoops and loops in order to get your gun. And then for the second one, yeah, I agree that his motives are being questioned for like what he's doing, but he is doing something. He wants to increase the salary for teachers, which I'm sure Miss Wild would love, and he wants to have like a larger number of students to go there and triple the funding because a lot of students go there. And he wants to stop for-profit charter schools, which are focused on like a lot of money, and then also stop like the non-profit charters, because what's the point in building something if the buildings that you already have aren't functioning correctly? So he's saying like we need to focus on this for the lower income students rather than building something else and then having those get messed up as well.
Awesome. We could talk about this for a very long time. And we're actually going to talk more about this tomorrow. So tomorrow there is going to be only 2 documents to annotate because we're going to be spending most of our time in discourse. So be prepared for discourse, specifically looking at what we think about these political parties. I wouldn't call it a debate because it's going to be a friendly conversation. But we're specifically going to be looking at the hypocrisies within these political parties and going more into depth about like maybe our issues or our concerns about these. So I wanted to give you guys that framing because tomorrow when we talk a little bit more politics and about political parties, politics is something that does emotionally hijack us. It is something that a lot of people have a lot of passionate feelings about. So I just wanted to make sure when you are joining class tomorrow, you have that mindset and are prepared to have like awesome, educated, mature conversations that our congressmen cannot have. And we're going to show Congress people what they should be modeling their discussions after. I'm going to open up the exit ticket in just a moment, but first I just wanted to frame what it is. Our biggest piece of growth from your argument essays in the IA, whereas only 2 people put in an alternative perspective and got that point. Only 2 people. And that is one of those points that can push your essay from being a 3 to a 4, or maybe even a 2 to a 3 if you did really bad on the multiple choice. So in today's exit ticket, you're going to practice a alternative response. It's a slightly different question compared to what we did today. I just wanted you guys to make sure you guys wrote an alternative response so that way I can look at it and help you guys determine, do we need practice rewriting alternative statements, or did we just forget that we had to include that in the essay? So just please make sure you guys put those in. It will be graded, so make sure you guys are putting the right time into it. Just a thesis and a refutation statement. That is the counter argument. A refutation statement is a counter argument. Okay, you guys have the remainder of class to get this done. Once you turn in Desmos and your work on Google Classroom, you guys will be free to go. Chat me if you have any questions. Awesome, thorough theses so far from Manny and Nyasia. Great start. Also, I'm sorry if this is not clear. You guys don't really need the documents to answer this question. This question is purely practice. It's not that related to today's lesson. I just wanted to, I couldn't find a good essay from College Board that lined up with this lesson. I just want to make sure you guys practiced it, since tomorrow will be an extended debate. And one of the major debates between Democrats and Republicans is how strong the national government should be. Thank you, Nyasia. You're free to go. Also, if you're in person, you can log off of Zoom. Sorry. Thank you, Malachi. Thank you, Zira. You're free to go. Hmm? It is 1:52, just to give you guys a heads up on the time. I'm gonna go ahead and end the Zoom call so that way you guys can transition over to college readiness. Again, just make sure you're mostly focusing on practicing with this refutation statement, Please make sure you hit turn in on Google Classroom. Yes, Lauren, what's up?
I think I put for the refutation statement, I think I put that instead of my thesis part, but I just wanted to let you know because I kind of I think I switched the two instead of just making my
Okay,
thesis.
let me look. Where is it? Okay, I see what you did. Yeah, that makes sense. Thanks for letting me know, Lauren.
Okay.
Okay, and make sure you guys turn it in on Google Classroom too, so that way you don't have that annoying to-do button